Sorry, that was another one malfunction, which I'm not going to comment anymore. So, just a second, I just want to get it down a little bit more. So now we have our Murrini here, and you see how it's starting to kind of pull towards the center. Now I'm heating the entire Murrini. Give a little bit of heat to the back of the bead. I shows this big lentil so I can place a lot of Murrini. So I'm heating, make sure this entire thing, heating around, this entire thing will heat up, and then with the poker you can go right in the center. And I might not have reached enough of the lines, and now you just heat this so that the hole closes, and you see here that my lines didn't come all the way together, so I'm going to heat it again. One thing, what I do is I rest this on top of my torch, so I'm going to take it out of the picture for a second, and I'm sliding, sorry, maybe I'll try it here. So in the center and push it again, and now again every time when I place Murrini I go, I let that hole close and tap it down, heat a little bit more and tap it down. I do this one a lot in my fossil beads. So I might make a little class on fossil beads, even though, so I'm heating this one a little bit more to flatten it. There are so many components in the fossil beads that we actually made here that, it's almost a continuation of the same idea in different colors. So see here you have here you kept the face ever so small, and here you just buried the face basically by poking in. And 1 second, I have to, I'm wearing a sweater. So now we're going to do the same thing with a commercial Murrini, a Murano Murrini, because the center is, quite a bit more elaborate, so we can see. So here's my commercial Murrini. It's my favorite, pink and white. There. And I'm gonna just heat it, put it somewhere here. I heat this just gently, then I'm starting to heat the bead where it goes, and it should be warm enough to stick. There we go. Place it, you can push it in a little bit. And when you have a very a clear pattern like that, you want to heat a little bit more gentle, but also you want to heat the outside. So you circle around, and as soon as it gets warm, touch the face, heat, touch the face. You want to make sure that you push down straight so you don't distort the design, but this design is a little bit distorted anyway. And there is this Murrini, so you always see the outside wall and see how the core shrinks. If you want the core to be as big as possible, you need to cut your Murrini really thin so that there is not that much wall around it. I think that kind of makes sense. So I'm going to do the same thing with the poking. And so heat. There's a lot of things you can do with Murrini. You can also flatten them and encase them. That would be slightly different from the quark, because the whole idea of the quark is that you leave your Murrini straight up, as a piece, so you can seal the face and the wall. So I'm heating this Murrini and this one up here. You always have to kind of pay attention what is happening with the rest of your bead, when you think you focus on that, so I'm holding it in the flame like this, the flame will radiate up to that. So maybe hold it downwards and tap down. Not all the way, then I take my poker, and when you want that face to disappear, you have to get the bead pretty warm, and then when you poke it, I'm going to put it on my torch here. When you poke it, then you poke quite deeply. Actually, I have another poker that is not this thick, it's a lot thinner, and I like that because when you have a thinner poker, you know, you're just not affecting quite as much from the Murrini when you poke it in. But I couldn't find it. So just gently heat it, make the hole disappear. That's the first step. You know, you just want to melt this hole so that it always closes up as much as possible, and then tap that down. Tap it down, and when the color comes back, you see that you only have the wall going in and there is no more face left in there. So it's a completely different design. Now let's try the Murrini that we made. So let's see this one here. This one is actually, I have to apologize, this is not exactly the Murrini that I made because I had to make another one for a few care packages that I kind of missed. So I made another one with the same colors, but I think, oops, my bead is cracking. I think it's similar enough. I think I have a little bit more yellow stripes. See all the cracks in the bead? We just ignore those. So heat that, heat the Murrini, touch down, and so we're going to see how many of our colors are actually going to show up. And I'm not going to poke this one because the wall is, you know, not very interesting. But whenever I apply it, I heat it and always tap down quickly, fairly early in the process. Heat, tap down. If you wanted to, you could also kind of move the Murrini a little bit as far as what's, you know, when you have the brass tool. So heat, tap down, and I don't know whether I just didn't apply it straight on or whether the Murrini, yeah, like for example, I don't know, as you can see is that this Murrini here, it's cut sideways. So the straighter you cut your Murrini, the more even it will appear. So let's see how far down we can tap this. So you see that the blue is not really in the center. This had to do with the way that I cut my slice. So it's good enough. Could be, you know, could be a little bit more down, and you can't really see, you know, with the colors. But I'm going to show you a picture. Now this one is going to be the interesting one. This is one of my favorites. This is actually the bonus Murrini that I showed you that had those spikes coming out. Let's see what that looks like when you apply it. So heat. All these lines there, it's pretty funny. I don't think I will be able to show you the finished bead. So place it there. Sometimes when you have a Murrini that is like, yeah, this again here, this, see how, I don't want to get close in the flame. You know, it's higher on one end. Sometimes if you get your base warm enough, you can actually, you know, push the uneven part of your Murrini down into the base and kind of make it disappear a little bit. So I'm heating around and around and around, and fairly early start tapping down. That pushes the Murrini down, and at the same time it cools off the front, which is really important because if you just let this front get too hot, you will get all kinds of distortion. So tap down. I'm trying to get this one really to tap down because I wanted you to see the spikes. So heat that. And this is, I mean, I'm sure other people, so now I'm just putting some heat on the wall and push that down. I always think this would be a cool turtle shell, you know. Sometimes you just look at these Murrini things, oh, this would be interesting. This one for here, for example, would be a good beginning for a nautilus shell. So bring this down a little bit. You could also, let's say, if you had used the press to make the bead, you know, you could either just push this into the top of the press, because then it will also give it more of a curved surface. Or if you're courageous, you could give this, you have to do both on the same side as far as how much heat you give. You know, you can melt both of those and then push them into the press, which will give you probably a maximum flatness. So let's see, put it in here, push it down, and it definitely pushed it down wider. So not particularly interesting, but you see the difference between using, you know, preserving the face and purposefully making that face go away here and here. And this is just, you know, showing what it looks like when it's on a bead. And what I do, oh shit here, what I do really like is in this bonus Murrini that I made with the transparent, you see here how the ink blue, see that the ink blue that was in between these stripes plus the clear on top made these kind of disappear on the black, so you just have these turquoise lines, and I'm always kind of enchanted by that look. So I hope that helped a little bit.